Seeing people roll in, we'll just get started with a little bit of housekeeping before we start. So as I said, today's session is our direct Q&A. So Andrew is going to be guiding us through some of the basics around direct, what the product offers, how to get started, just kind of doing a bit of background for those not in the know, and then really kind of going through all the different features that are core to the product, but also some of the newer releases that you might not have heard of, and some of the releases that are on the way. So as always, we are recording today's session. If you get disconnected at any point, you can head on over to our YouTube channel. But also, if you have any questions throughout the session, we'd love to stay on Zoom and ask your questions here. So we do have Ed in the chat helping out. So if you've got any questions throughout, you can use the Q&A functionality to type your questions. You should see Q&A at the bottom. And if you'd like to ask any questions towards the end, you'll be able to use the react button to go in there and raise your hand, and then we'll be able to invite you on stage. So that's my usual spiel. I'm going to hand over to Andrew with the more enticing updates.
Yes, I have all the juicy content. Cool. So we try to do these direct Q&As every couple months. So there's going to be some repeat content. We're I think presenting to both an audience of people that haven't tried direct and people that are experts. So please forgive me if you've seen some of this before. But there have been some changes recently with Hospitable's pricing, and those impact direct. So we've got basically two groups of customers right now. We have people on a legacy plan, and we have people on the new pricing tiers. I'm going to speak mostly to the new pricing tiers, as I think if you're on a legacy, you're already familiar with this. So direct is not available at the host level. You need to be on the professional plan to be able to get direct, and direct is included, which is great. We are able to do our seasonal pricing. So you people on the legacy plan, you are going to be paying every month for each property you have on direct, whereas on the professional side, it's just included in your property. And if your property doesn't get a check-in in 30 days, like all Hospitable subscriptions now, you won't be charged for those additional properties on that. And so what that looks like is the professional starts at $59. It includes two properties, and it's $15 per additional property. And again, that would get you direct included for every property as you grow. And then the mogul is something that is launching soon with owner statements. But how that applies to direct, again, the legacy customers, you would pay additional now for direct. So if you're on the basic plan, there's no transaction fee, for legacy on basic. My cat says hi. She's actually blocking my microphone. But $8 per property per month for basic. If you want to do premium, and we'll cover what the differences are if you're unfamiliar. For premium direct, it's $5 per property, and those both go down on scale. So if you start to get more than 10 properties, those are all going to decrease. And then you're looking at a transaction fee of 4% plus 3% guest fee, host fee, that covers the premium offering. And then on the professional and mogul tier, the pricing tier customers, it's included again. So no additional charge for having a direct site, taking direct bookings. And we're going to take a small transaction fee on basic now. So a 1% fee taken out of your payout. And then on the premium side, same 4 plus 3%. And the new feature that we'll talk about in just a second is we'll let you actually decide if you want to take all that 7% as a host-only fee. So you can have a fee-free channel. There'll be no service fee then presented to your guest. So yeah, the plans, if you're not familiar, very basic coverage. Premium is our kind of like hybrid OTA offering. So we keep what I think our hosts have told us they like about OTAs. So that's the risk mitigation. So you'll see that we do damage protection, we do guest vetting, and we're the merchant of record. Hospitable is, which means we're taking on a lot of the liability. We're able to manage chargebacks on your behalf. We have seen hosts when they're their own merchant of record, say on Stripe for basic, a single chargeback will start to already have consequences with your Stripe account if you are a low volume, low transaction user. And that can, have kind of catastrophic consequences very quickly with chargebacks. We're very good at dealing with them now. We've had a lot of learning experience, so it's great that we can do that for you. And at the same time, we're really making progress now on starting to roll out tax remittance on your behalf. So there's several things that we can do for you to save you time and have a better guest and host experience on the direct premium side. On the basic side, it's more, I think, what you would see at our competitors. So if you used anyone else's software, it's a payment processor connected to a direct booking website, which is great, particularly for kind of like the pro users that already have maybe a tech stack that they're using. They already have an insurance provider. They already have a guest vetting solution. They're already comfortable and know the ins and outs of chargebacks, those kind of things. That's who Basic is for, actually, is the more experienced operator that wants to have kind of a custom tech stack, if you will, for direct booking. So a quick comparison of how those look then. So you're basically looking at only a 3% difference in the transaction fees between basic and premium, because that 7% we talked about on the premium side includes your payment processing. So on basic, Stripe is going to take out about 3% for your payment processing. We're going to take out 1% and you get to 4%. And so it's only a 3% gap then to premium. And then you have feature parity until you start to look at some of the risk mitigation things. So you have tax filing and remittance. That's something that's starting to roll out. So if you're in the state of Tennessee, you're the lucky pilot audience for tax remittance. And then we're going to start to expand that. We'll talk about that later in this. And then the guest vetting and chargeback protection and damage protection are all features only of the premium offering. So you're paying 3% for that kind of peace of mind. And yeah, got one more slide before I get to that segue. Just to cover an update for anyone on the legacy plan, and a premium user, you would have gotten an email from us recently letting you know that we are going to retire this 6% plus $10 fee. That was kind of the old pricing. It really didn't make sense for a lot of reasons. Having a fixed fee and a percentage fee made a lot of things complicated, including different currencies, etc. So we're going to retire that. That's going to happen tomorrow. You're going to go in line with the pricing tier customers that have already been on this 4 plus 3%. And to make it so you don't have to take any action for this to happen, we're going to automatically add 3% to your markup rates as we do that, because we're going to be taking 3% out of your payout now, which is new for premium. And so we would expect you then to want that, make that a revenue neutral change. And we would bump up your price 3%. So that's a no impact to your finances when that happens. And after we do this tomorrow, you can jump in and make any changes you want, including the new feature that has been requested from the beginning with Direct, is the ability to hide the fees. And you do that by selecting the host only fee option. And now that 7% fee that includes your payment processing, all those things, you can hide that from the guest. And all they're going to see is probably your cleaning fee. Then they're not going to see a platform fee. And you can tell them that Direct is your fee-free channel where you go to not pay the kind of the OTA fees, right? So looking at those plans, we do see that far and away, and we've shared this a few times, that it keeps skewing in favor of premium. That is the more popular plan for host, and it's only available in some areas. So because we take all the liability and compliance on as the merchant of record, we move kind of slowly here. So we're only in the US, in the UK, and Australia with this product. We're hoping to get to Canada soon. We're blocked at the moment due to our tax provider. We can't do the tax calculations and remittance there yet. But so far, this is the overwhelming popular choice with our hosts. And just taking a step back, just the basics of how the economics are going to look for you with Direct, looking at both plans. These are the OTAs that we work with, the fees they're getting. So anywhere between 17 and 9% is probably what you're used to paying with Direct. If you compare that to Basic, again, there's no guest fee. We're going to take a 1% host fee, and a 3% processing fee is going to be taken out by Stripe. So you get to a 4%. So your gap there of where you can say, I want to make it a cheaper channel for my guest and a more performance, a more richer payout for me, you can play with those using those markup rates to decide how much of that savings you pass on to the guest, how much you keep on yourself. That gap is about 13 to 14% or 15% is that savings that you have to play with. On the premium side, again, it's a 3% difference. So you're looking at about a 14% savings over an OTA channel while still retaining a lot of those protections that you like about them. So we look at the impact this is having for our host. Again, we see our average direct booking value right around $1,750. And if you're saving that 14%, maybe on average, and again, this is between you and the guest. So it's you're not going to get, $250 right out of it, but you could skew this. There's $250 at play. So if you're getting just one booking a month, if you're able to do this, and again, Direct does require a little bit of work. We're not saying that when you publish a website, you're automatically going to start getting bookings. It doesn't work like that. You do need to be out there kind of, building up your repeat guest CRM, reaching out to guests, doing promos, those kind of things, trying to get those repeat bookings. getting on Google Vacation Rental, etc., doing things to drive your traffic. If you can do that successfully with just one booking a month, around that size, you're going to have, $3,000 to play with. And maybe half of that goes to you, maybe a little bit more, and the other half is to the guest and cheaper bookings. You've probably paid for your Hospitable fees. So it should be a revenue positive endeavor for you, but it does require some work. So it doesn't work like that for everyone. What we saw so far in the first half of this year is we've done just over $15,700,000 in bookings. And so if you look at, again, that savings rate, that's about $2 million that we've saved for a direct host and guest over the first half of this year. And yeah, I think we're going to have some non-linear growth as we keep rolling out features and making it easier and easier to get started and easier to use. And at the individual level, we've updated this chart that you might have seen before in the past. So we're now almost the top 100 hosts almost are in this 50K plus in direct bookings. Our 100K level, we're starting to actually mail out your prizes. So we thought this would be fun. We're actually going to reward you once you hit 100K in bookings, 250K or 500K. Look out in the mail. We're going to be sending you kind of a prize package, and we might be reaching out to interview you and try and help share your success with other hosts as they try to figure out direct booking and make it work for them. The highest performing host we have, that one that's above 500K, is at 840K as of today. So that person has saved about $126,000 by taking a good chunk of their bookings through direct instead of over the OTA channel. So we're pretty enthused about those numbers. Again, you have to work at this. This is not going to be everyone's results, right? Moving on. We're going to talk about updates now. Payment terms I pulled out separately because it's a super impactful launch and it's still very new for us. So I want to go through that and take plenty of time to explain that. So as of today, it's now rolled out to everyone, to general audience. The last bucket of users was our non-beta direct basic hosts. They got access to this just today. And what happens when you get access is you will now, instead of a cancellation policy in direct, you'll see a booking policy because we've added these payment term settings to your cancellation policy settings because they have a lot of there's a lot of overlap with them. And what do I mean by that? It means that by aligning your payment schedule with your cancellation policy, you can do some kind of cool things. So what happens when payment terms are enabled, and we enable them by default? You have a refundable cancellation policy. So as long as you have some checkpoints, so maybe you're 100% refundable until 60 days out, you're 50% refundable until 30 days out, you're 25% refundable until 7 days. If you have something like that scheduled, that allows us to automatically apply those payment terms to match your cancellation policy, and we'll only collect fees when they become non-refundable. And that's going to save you money on the direct basic side because you're responsible for all your payment processing fees. And if you have to issue a refund, you're losing the interchange fees on that. So a full refund could actually end up costing you hundreds of dollars sometimes on a large booking. So anyways, when this is on, we're going to qualify the reservation. So it depends on the lead time. It depends on the overall amount. Right now, the reservation amount has to be $500 or more in total. I think we're going to lower that, actually. There's no reason not to. And if the guest chooses that, they always have the option to pay up front if they want. If they choose payment terms, we're then going to do 2 or 3 payments according to your cancellation policy, or if you set up a custom schedule, we're going to automatically capture those payments. So we're 72 hours out, we're going to send the guest a notification, hey, you have an upcoming payment. We provide them a payment link at that time to change the credit card. If they realize, oh, that's my bad card or that expired, they can go ahead and proactively update their card, or we just automatically capture at the schedule payment. And then we'll enter a grace period. If we're unable to capture insufficient balance, etc., we'll keep trying every 24 hours. We're notifying the guests, and we're giving them a link to change to a different credit card to make that transaction happen. So we're kind of automating that whole process of getting the payment captured for you. And it should be a non-event for your reservations. Otherwise, if they fail to pay during that grace period, we'll automatically cancel the reservation, refund anything that was due. You'll keep your non-refundable portion, and your calendar will be cleared up with plenty of time for you to fill it. One update we're working on now is to actually give you an option in the inbox for that reservation to manually extend the grace period. So if you're talking with that guest and they're having trouble making the payment, you want to extend that, we'll let you do that on an ad hoc basis. But how it looks in the product, Again, this is now the cancellation policy, which is merged into a booking policy, and you've got a payment schedule here. So by default, when this gets turned on for you, and it's on for everybody now, we'll start with aligning your payment terms to your cancellation policy, but you can change that and decide that you want to do it custom. And again, there's a great help article on this. So if this is too fast for you and you need to go watch it on YouTube on the recording, do that, or just go into the product. And there's all those little like green articles linked to on the tops of the pages, and that'll give you a nice breakdown of how this works in more detail. But this is where you're going to find it, the Booking Policy Manager. And just to show you the impact it has, this is a random booking from this morning that went through our feed. So this is just a webhook we got from Stripe. There was an $8,000 booking, 8,000 Australian dollars booking this morning, and it got canceled right away. And thankfully, we had only captured the 20% deposit. So you can see their payment terms are 2080. The guest decided to cancel right away. That we saved that host almost 200 Australian dollars by not collecting that other, $6,400. So those payment terms are great for, especially for basic, for helping you minimize your interchange fees. They're also super valuable for all of our hosts because they're going to help you convert those large bookings and those long lead time bookings. A lot of times they're both. So they've been a huge impact. What we're seeing already, and this is the results until now with only partial rollout, almost 15% of direct bookings now have payment terms. And again, they're only available depending on a lead time and a booking amount. So it's not even all bookings that are available. When we present them, we're just about 60% of guests will choose them when they're offered. So they're almost always choosing to take payment terms. And so far, we're up to about $350,000 in money that we have delayed the capture on. So the guest is able to keep that money off their credit card balance and make an easier decision to book with you because there's $350,000 that we don't need to collect right now. There's no reason to. So this has been really encouraging. We're really excited by the success of payment terms so far. Other stuff that's new besides payment terms. For developers or people working with custom site builders, I know there's several kind of custom site companies that we work with. This was a request for them. So we have a new API endpoint, so a developer endpoint that you can basically use to create your own booking widget for Hospitable. What it does is allows you to generate a quote whenever you need it on all the parameters we have in the booking widget. So that developer can build their own custom widget that looks perfect in your site. It fits in perfectly with your design. And this allows you to then go from your own website booking widget to the Hospitable booking flow by giving you that URL that you can redirect to. So a little complicated on the developer side, but it really unlocks people to do new things with their what we call self-hosted sites. So if you're not using a Hospitable site, one of the 11 templates that we provide you just out of the box, and you decide that you want to do the custom site route, these self-hosted sites, those are going to get even more interesting now with this new endpoint. We talked about tax returns at the start of this. So those launched for the month of July. So we had a full month of July collection of taxes, meaning instead of doing pass-through taxes like we've done all throughout direct history, we're starting to change that now, and we're collecting them. So we've just before this started, we're at $15,500 exactly in collected taxes for the month of July, which is almost over. All premium properties in Tennessee no longer have to worry about their taxes. We're going to take care of those for you. We're going to remit and file those for the month of July during the month of August. And yeah, that's the pilot audience for us. As long as everything goes well, we're going to start then registering wherever we can, so we can start doing the same in as many areas as possible in August. We'll be sharing more in the town halls about where we're able to do that, but that's where we can have the biggest impact with the least amount of effort on our side is how we'll look at that, where we have hosts, where the filing is the easiest, etc. And we'll just keep working out. That'll be probably a year-long rollout to get to as much coverage as we can. But there should be some really easy wins in the beginning, as we talked about in town halls. If you're on basic, we're doing the tax collection for you, but you have to do the tax calculation for us, or sorry, to tell us how to do the calculation. So one thing we were missing for a while is a length of stay parameter on your direct basic taxes. Most states will remove sales tax and lodging tax at around 30 days. Some are 45, some are 90. Some have different thresholds for either tax. You can now tell us what that threshold is. So we remove those taxes when you get into a midterm booking and you don't need to collect tax. That was something that was missing for a while. One of the more exciting updates, this one goes back a little bit longer, but since the last Q&A, I think, the guest portal is now live. So we're now sending out links to manage my stay. This was a big deal for us on cancellations, guests that couldn't figure out how to cancel. It used to be that you as the host for direct booking had to cancel on their behalf. They can now do that unilaterally. That we were getting chargebacks due to that. So just take a quick look at what this looks like. So this is, clicking on that manage my stay button. They're getting just some basic content now. We'll be doing a lot more with this going forward. Right now, we're working on embedding the guest vetting process that happens through AutoHost. That's now going to be completely embedded in your guest portal. So that can all be done within the same kind of flow from the booking. The rental agreement will also be embedded in that. We'll talk about that in a second. And we're going to have more of a really explicit opt-in to your house rules during that section as well to help us set up for like damage claims and damage waivers in the future as we look at doing those. So that's the guest portal. And that is a good segue into reservation agreements. So rental agreements, something that was been asked for a long time. These are currently in beta for direct reservations only. We're doing the work right now to expand these to work on all channels, meaning Airbnb, Booking.com, Vrbo, etc. So we can do that. We're also making some changes before we roll that out outside of beta. So this is what they look like in Hospitable. We give you a nice default template that you can import that kind of helps you get the short code set up, helps you have a starter point if you don't already have an agreement to use. Otherwise, you can copy in your own and change out the short codes. We'll be adding a preview button so you can make sure that looks good. And just for now, I think some of the confusion has happened. You don't need to add a signature block when you do these. That's what's going to be solved when we help you preview this before you send it out. But we're going to take care of the signature block for you. And what that looks like is then your guest portal, once you scope a reservation, a property to a rental agreement on those direct reservations, we'll add a task to sign a rental agreement. We'll validate that it's the primary guest just to make sure that we get the signature of a valid user. So they'll do a one-time password by email or SMS. They'll view your agreement. They'll click to sign. They have the kind of DocuSign options of using a fun font or actually drawing out the signature, inserting that, signing the agreement, and then they're going to see that task as complete on their guest portal, and they can download a copy of the rental agreement for their own records. So that's rental agreements. We're kind of just starting to get back to that to make the kind of the post MVP, the post minimum viable product changes, so we can roll that out to a wider audience and roll that out to other channels, like I said. And we're almost done here. So up next, hoping to get Apple Pay and Google Pay rolled out as payment options in the portal. We've also been talking to vendors about using pay by bank that would allow us to really save money on transaction fees. Ideally, something that we would pass on those savings to both the guest and the host. So that'll be exciting. Stay tuned for more information on that. Working on site improvements, particularly single property sites. So if you only have one property, our templates have always done a bad job, I think, really showing your property. We're going to be updating those templates and doing a lot of trust building content. So what we've been missing from the beginning as well is just, reviews, the number of the stays you've done. If you're an Airbnb superhost, maybe linking to even your OTA listings to give you those kind of bona fides of, hey, this is a legit site. You're welcome to, well, there's the cat advancing the slides for you. Just building that trust on your site to help drive more conversions, and then working on midterm bookings. So from payment terms, multiple payments up front. We also want to do multiple payments during the booking. So any booking over 30 days will start to behave differently for payments, and we'll be able to handle those better. And farther down the line, getting into damage waivers and damage deposits. Right now we have damage protection, which is a large $5 million policy. It's better for catastrophic insurance. We want something that's more tuned for the kind of smaller damages under $500. So we're trying to optimize a new solution for that, as well as offering both split payments and split payouts. Split payments meaning guests traveling in a group could split the bill and be able to pay for it, party of 4, party of 5, etc. And split payouts, meaning, especially for property managers and property owners, you could do like an 80-20 split, and we'd be able to split that at the line item. So if you need 100% of the cleaning fee, you take that, you split the nightly rate, 80-20, whatever. That's a split payout for us. New distribution, meaning finding the next GVR for us. meaning Google Vacation Rentals, which gives us free lead gen for your direct booking site. We're working on the next kind of sites for that. And that quotes API is what's unlocking some of that for us. And then offering trip insurance to get people over the bar and help drive a few more conversions by offering to insure trips so they can go ahead and book today without any hesitation or anxiety. Yeah, and overall the message is get started. It's pretty easy. Premium takes out a lot of I think the anxiety and risk you might have, risk aversion you might have to starting direct if you haven't yet. All you have to do is add a payout method. If it's premium, that's as easy as just connecting a bank account, publish your site, activate direct. You don't have to do that even on the new pricing tiers. Push your properties to Google Vacation Rentals. It takes you about 2 weeks to get up. Hopefully that performs for you. It's about 10% of our bookings overall that come from Google Vacation Rentals, but that doesn't, you don't always get that same mileage out of it. And then check out the getting started checklist for everything else. And that's all you need to get started. And I think I'll hand back the mic to Miles to talk about other events we have coming up, and then we'll open up to Q&A.
Sweet. Thank you, Andrew. Yeah, plenty of questions coming in on Q&A. As a reminder, you can also raise your hand if you're interested in coming on stage to ask a question. We'll get onto the Q&A in just a second. But I want to just kind of call out a couple of upcoming other events. If you've enjoyed Andrew's updates today, we have a couple more Zoom events coming up. So we have our next town hall next Wednesday. So pretty much same time, slightly different place, also on Zoom, a different link. So if you head to that QR code there, you'll see the full details of that. And that's really kind of a quick overview for across the business on kind of the past 2 weeks of product updates and what's new. Also great opportunity there to ask questions to our CEO and the rest of our product team. So please do add that to your calendar. And then also in 2 weeks' time, we're going to have an owner statements Q&A. So that's really focusing in on owner statements as a product and the launch of that, which is coming very soon. And Emily's going to be taking questions on that and providing a bit of an update on where we are on the release date and exactly what that's going to look like with a bit of a demo there. And then finally, just before we get into Q&A, and apologies for taking up your time, everyone, just want to kind of call out this roadshow event that we're doing in October. So we're actually going to go out and meet people live and in person. And it's very strange. We're usually just online and over Zoom, but we want to kind of meet some of our hosts and potential hosts in person, get to chat to them, learn more about them, learn what they're looking for in our product. So we're hosting 4 events, 4 different cities, 4 different breweries. So come along, join us for a beer, and yeah, we'll hopefully see you there. Again, feel free to scan that link if you're interested in joining us.
I'll be there.
Now, after that, yeah, Andrew will be there.
I don't know if I can survive 4 different cities and 4 different breweries back to back, but we'll see. Los Angeles might be interesting.
Yeah, we'll make it through. Need I remind you, we've got VRMA in Phoenix right afterwards as well, so it's fine.
Yeah. I hope that jet lag isn't too rough.
Cool. Great. So yeah, so moving into the Q&A, we do have some written Q&A to go through, but I see that another Andrew, has his hand raised. I'm going to move over to you, invite you on stage. Hello, Andrew.
Hey, how's it going? So, haven't had a chance to get on one of these calls in a handful of weeks, so it sounds like you guys have done a lot. So
try to keep
on the direct booking, and I appreciate the direction you're taking everything in. My marketplace that I'm operating in, which would be true for some and not for others, it's a pretty small marketplace. Like vacation rentals are definitely, a part of that economy, and people love to vacation there, blah, 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 whatever. But it is a smaller community. And so when you guys first initiated the Hospitable website, when you guys first rolled that out, I had just prior to that actually put a little money aside with a website guy to develop a website for me. But I said, you know what, I'm not going to go down this path. Let me check out the Hospitable website, and it's good. I mean, it works well. We've had direct bookings for certain, and I think we've had a couple that might have come through like Google Vacation Rentals or something, because they're not part of my list, and those are the only people that would know about it. But so in my marketplace, being smaller, I knew that one thing I might have been leaving on the table by not going with a custom website was SEO. And that's fine because it's easy enough to be on Airbnb, VRBO, everything else. So, but I've enjoyed the ease of just staying with Hospitable website. I really don't need other projects and other people to deal with all that kind of stuff. But I've been looking at my my rankings for my market for a very normal keyword for vacation rentals in that area. And I thought to myself, what can I do from an SEO perspective to tweak this website? And one thing I noticed is I could just put the address in like the footer of the my locale with the zip code and everything, and Google would credit that for relevance. And of course, it did boost my SEO rankings above a couple competing sites that were always like in front of me. And because it's a small market, getting me like much closer to something that might actually get some regular traffic just through SEO. So like my question is, without I wouldn't expect you guys to open up some like Pandora's box of like SEO options for someone to go in and mess with a Hospitable site. But is there any ideas?
I think I have your question.
Okay.
Do you want me to start on the answer?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, SEO, we actually are doing things with it now. I think we've kind of put it aside from the beginning just because we're balancing spinning too many plates. But yeah, we're doing a lot more active management now. We're going to be getting even more involved. So what we've been doing is using Google Site Manager, going through finding things that we can fix and things we can improve over that's probably the last 6 to 8 weeks. And then we're trying to find some more dedicated resources to spend on improving those sites. That's never going to be like a blockbuster solution for you. Like I have kind of very balanced expectations about what a lot of SEO improvements would get you at the end of the day. It's not where most people are going to find their direct bookings, but we still want to do it. So the other thing that's coming out in the near future as well is helping you track that better. So we're adding Google Tag Manager, Google Analytics, Facebook tracking pixels that you're going to be able to add to your site and help you do kind of campaigns, which will be probably a lot more impactful than just straight SEO for you. But yeah, it's on our radar. I just want to be realistic about the gains that we can make from that. I think there's a lot more to be done on the conversion side as far as building like the trust building content that I talked about, convincing people that you are, who you say you are, this is a legit site, all those things. That's going to be more of a focus, but there is stuff happening on SEO in the background.
Sounds good. Yeah, I totally agree with you that SEO is not going to be the primary, not in this day and age, but you got to fight all the sponsor sites and Airbnbs and everything. But the fact that you guys are looking at it and, I think, there's some low hanging fruit there, which you're confirming.
So that's where the focus is. And
thank you so much and appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks, Andrew. Take care.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So, Andrew, would you like to take a couple of questions from the
I flagged a few here. So can you speak more about the API endpoint widget option and how that would work? Sure. So this is the quote endpoint that I talked about. So our platform team that manages our public API, they've released a new endpoint, and I think it's kind of still in beta. So we're working with some of the site vendors right now. But what it does is it gives you, programmatic access to send over the parameters you would put into the booking widget as a developer, right? So it's, the check-in, checkout date, the number of adults, children, pets, etc., and we'll return a quote. So you'll see the exact same information that we would have in the booking widget. Is there a promo code or not, etc.? Is payment terms available? And then any site developer that is working on their custom site, they can now no longer have to use the booking widget. And the person that asked this question has already hacked themselves a solution to try and do this in kind of a dirty way. This is a clean way to do this now. And so the other thing we provide in that response when you ping our quote endpoint is we'll give you the correct URL to open the booking flow. So what you'll do is you'll build your own widget. It's going to look just like you want it to look. And when that person clicks, book now or proceed into the booking, that will then do the redirect to our booking flow to close the sale. So it does require some development on your side, but the companies we work with that are probably doing a lot of the self-hosted sites that are in use, those companies will be updating to this so they can have a better looking site for you with a fully customizable booking widget. Should I keep going? Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see, that one's done. Will there be an option for tax remittance for basic as an upcharge or similar? No, because we're not in the payment flow. The thing that allows us to do that is all the payments flow through us. We're both the merchant of record and the payment facilitator. So because that happens when we capture a payment, we can do all of the application logic on our side to say, okay, this is the host payout that goes to this bucket. This is taxes that we recognize as being in a jurisdiction we file for. That goes to this bucket. And this is the service fee that we charge, et cetera. All of that we have to, it has to flow through us. On Stripe, on Direct Basic, we don't touch the payment flow. So we don't even have access to the funds to do that. It's not something that we've contemplated now. So it's unlikely we'd be able to come up with a solution for basic. The solution is if you want your taxes filed and remitted, you have to pay a little bit more and use premium. Yeah, that's the situation there. Any updates on brands and particular use of custom domains? So direct guests are getting the emails from my own domain. And no updates on brands. We continue to believe it's a very valuable project. It has so many different facets. So it's like you said in the question, Anthony, using your own domain as your mailbox, which would be amazing. It's also, skinning the guest portal to your site, being able to host all of the other kind of features that we have at Hospitable. So if you're a property manager, being able to host your metrics view for your owners on your site, being able to host your owner statements on your own domain. It touches so many different parts of our product. So I think it's a little bit scary from that sense. We're still trying to identify what the beachhead is for us. And so far, this is an update. We have been talking to vendors that can help us with the DNS because like I just said, it touches so many different things. That's a lot of DNS instructions to pass on to a host to say, oh yeah, and now you need to add your mailbox SMTP and your SPF and I don't even remember like the 3 different acronyms for your email anti-spoofing DNS records that need to be added. It's too much. DKIM, thank you. We don't want to do that without having at least an option to automate it for you. So there's different solutions for that, taking over the DNS management, being able to add records on your behalf so you don't have to constantly be logging into your DNS if you even know where that is and updating records on your own. I think that's kind of a blocker for it being valuable to our wider community other than just the developers that are savvy with DNS already. It's kind of idling, but there is some energy building there. Okay.
Before you just pull one more, sorry, yeah, I'm just gonna Sherry's waiting with a hand raised. I'm gonna invite Sherry up. Okay, so hello, Sherry. Hello. It looks like you're unmuted, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello?
We can hear you now.
Yep,
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I am brand new to this, and this is sounds like a pretty advanced group. I've never gotten on a Hospitable call. Been using you for about 3 months, but I do have I purchased the domain name for our Garden City Getaways. But my goal was to set up a direct booking site, and I feel like it would be the most simple to just use what you have rather than creating my own site. I don't know.
Yep.
Thoughts on that?
Yeah, we would definitely recommend that, especially if you're new, right? Like you need to see how it performs for you. And that's kind of on you to just run experiments. And that's why I think we have such a good product for new hosts is you can be up and running very, very quickly. And then you need to see like, how is this going to work for me? Do I have a lot of repeat guests that I can reach out to? Is my market, maybe not so saturated on Google Vacation Rentals that I'm actually going to get a lot of bookings from them? How else can I generate bookings? Can I run Facebook Facebook campaigns, etc. All the different ways to drive traffic. Those are all kind of experiments that you want to run, and you want to minimize your investment until you've kind of qualified what impact it can make on your business, right? And so I would definitely not start by investing in a custom site until you've validated that that's an important part of your business going forward is direct booking. So definitely spin up a hospitable site. You can connect that custom domain to it. It can be temporary. You can build your own site later and use your domain there. But you should be able to get something live in 20 or 30 minutes. I can do it in like 2 minutes, but you may not be familiar with it yet. So 20, 30 minutes, you could actually have everything set up and live and just see how it works for you. Again, you're going to need to intentionally run some of these experiments, intentionally try to see what you can drive. Just turning it on and publishing it doesn't mean you're going to have, crowds of traffic coming in from Google and booking your stays.
I mean, my thought was, and I'm guessing you guys kind of help with marketing ideas and stuff too, was to get the site created, print up some business cards with a QR code that goes directly to that we can leave for current guests, because we have a lot of people going, we'll definitely be back again. And just even starting there, and I play pickleball and there's all kinds of tournaments and stuff. So just handing those out to people is my idea, and just getting started anyway.
Yeah, I wouldn't say we're active actually in helping you market. That's kind of the thing with direct booking is we don't charge any marketing fee. That's where the savings come from, right? So like Airbnb is bringing you a guest, you're paying a marketing fee. Direct is your channel to do your own marketing. So we're less involved with that. We have some ideas of things we can do in the future, but today it's kind of on you. So I think our host community is the best resource for marketing ideas. And that's some of the things we're going to start doing. Like we talked about those top performing direct booking hosts that have $100,000, $500,000 in bookings. We're going to start interviewing them on like our Instagram account and sharing kind of what they do. You can do that on our Facebook host page, which is super active. So people are always on there kind of shooting ideas. You can go on our YouTube as well. I think there are a couple different programs we've done on marketing for direct booking that would help you. But it's not something that's our forte. We're really focusing on providing the tools so you can market to your own audience.
It seems like you mentioned something about MailChimp is someone that you're kind of integrating with to. I've been doing just screenshots of phone numbers and stuff. And so I thought I'd just reach out to them with the direct link once I got that. So I will check out those Facebook host page and things like that. That sounds like a great idea. So
and you need to be, somewhat careful too, right? So if like, you're using the phone number that Airbnb has provided to do outreach for direct bookings, you have to be a little bit careful because, that's not exactly in their terms of service. So that might be something you kind of find like a Facebook thread on as well. So people can help you, just making sure that you don't get in trouble as well. Reaching out to your host. They're your customers too. But there's a few things to be careful with on the marketing side, especially during this day,
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Yep, no problem. Thank you, Sherry. And she mentioned MailChimp. That's kind of the only CRM-like integration we have right now. What that's going to do is just pick up all of the email addresses from all of your reservations that are coming through Hospitable. We're not always going to have an email address. Those aren't provided by some of the OTAs. But if they're mentioned even in the messaging flow, so if you're asking for emails, for a legitimate reason, right? You have to be careful with that too. Those will get picked up and into your MailChimp, and you can use them at your discretion to market to. Other people use things like StayFi. So your Wi-Fi at your property can have kind of a login screen. So they have to give you an email to access your Wi-Fi on your property, and that allows them to opt into marketing as well. So you can build your mailing list up there and use that for direct. Okay, so I'll take one here that doesn't have a great answer. So Don writes that we're a premium direct and superhost on Airbnb with great occupancy and 3 different rentals in 3 states. However, we hadn't had a single direct booking and don't even come up in GVR. Where can we get some help with that? On the GVR side, we can try and investigate for you. There are some ongoing issues that hosts have had that, they're difficult. They require investigation. But in general, I think I would be trying some of the things we mentioned now, right? So having in-property advertising for your host, book with us direct on your next stay, and you'll save 10%, maybe doing promo code mailers, those kind of things. We're giving you the tools, and yeah, we'll look into what's going on with your GVR. Yeah, we can't solve the fact that you're not getting bookings. Unfortunately, that's something that you've kind of take on the reins yourself and figure out how you can market best to your own customers that you own. Let's see. Rosie has a question we can take here. With direct premium, where can we see additional information on AutoHost risk factors? When I click on AutoHost Insights, I'm just seeing a failure to load guest vetting data. That sounds like a bug. I'm not sure why you're seeing that, but we'll have to take that as a bug report and investigate that. You would click on the insights. There's also a second button in the inbox on the left-hand side. You'll see the AutoHost logo there, and you should be able to load the AutoHost profile from there. And yeah, if there's an issue right now, we'll take a look at it right after this and see if we can get that fixed. I'm not aware of an issue at the moment. But that could be possible. We're going to share with you their ID. So if you're, need to collect IDs for your own compliance purposes, we're passing that through, as well as all of the kind of the insights that AutoHost is sharing with us. Have one from Elena. When will we get rental agreements in multiple languages? I think that is being discussed. And yeah, not today. It's obviously not an early launch priority for us on rental agreements. I feel like we're still very early. We want to get the preview function in. We want to get it embedded in the guest vetting flow for anyone that's using guest vetting and rental agreements together, so it's not two separate tasks. And there is a ticket for looking at multilingual capabilities for rental agreements. We'll try to get to it soon. I'm not sure what the scope of work is on that. A question about the Furnished Finder integration. Your guess is as good as mine on when that goes live. There is no progress on that so far. I think we actually got in touch with them. It's the only progress we've had. We've been doing outreach to Furnished Finder for ages. And I think they don't have an API yet. I think they're building an API integration, but it doesn't exist yet. So I think they have some new technical team that's on board in the last last 2 to 3 months. And I think they are trying to prioritize a public API that would allow us to integrate with them. But that's not currently an option today. We're trying to explore if there's something else we can do. But there's not a lot of progress on that. It's just been a brick wall for the most part for us with Furnished Finder. Let's see. Do we have the rental agreements if they are just short stays? As replying to this now. Let's see. I don't know if we actually went live with this a length of stay parameter on rental agreements or not. It might not have been in the initial scope, but that is something we have a ticket for, as well as allowing you to only apply rental agreements for a certain stay. That might be live. I haven't looked at that in a little while. But there will be a length of stay parameter. So if you only need it for midterm bookings, 30 days and up, you'll be able to specify that. Not sure about that today though. Any ideas of expanding towards maintenance? For example, allowing guests to create maintenance requests and dispatch those requests to my contractors and track the progress. Yes, Boris. It's still early though. If you've listened to maybe the last town hall or the one before that, at the very end, Pierre started to kind of riff on where we're going with marketplaces. Marketplaces for us is a marketplace of services, of vendors, service providers, like maintenance teams, like cleaners, etc. So we're going to be getting more active in that. But as of today, no. And I think there's the AI component of kind of helping to surface messages that would be requests. Obviously, we want to run that by the host first. We don't want to be completely automating, I think it came up on a town hall one time, like automating a pool cleaning because the guest complains that the pool is dirty. I don't think you want them ordering expensive services in a completely automated fashion, but it's something we're looking into. Yeah, and someone's reporting that the amenities are not working for them on their direct template site. I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm not sure to the specifics of it, but again, we are devoting some resources to site improvements coming up, so that should be something we can address soon. But I can't really comment on specifics for a template at the moment. Okay. That is the queue of questions we had loaded. Is there anyone else waiting on stage, Miles?
Not currently.
Cool.
So we just kind of a final call, people. If you do want to ask
Yep.
a question on stage, the React button at the bottom has a little raise hand functionality in there. You can use that to come on stage if you do have a question you want to ask. We'll stick around for a minute or two in case there is anything else.
Yeah, and if you're joining late and you missed anything, this will be on YouTube as well, so you can go back and listen if you missed any of the updates. What is the name of the Facebook group, Miles, that we can join?
It is Hospitable Hosts. I'll drop the link in the chat again as well.
The cat's name, we did not name our cat. The cat's name is Blackie. She came with her name, a rescue cat from China, of all places. Thank you for that question, Alex.
Okay.
And Anthony, yes, I do need to get back to your email. Any updates on GVR not showing rates or dates for your properties? I can forward you a couple 8 to 10 email long threads with Google support. At the moment, they're working for me, so it's difficult for me to escalate. I have seen you get actual bookings from Google. I'm not saying there's not a problem, but it's difficult for me to escalate when it's actually working under checks. So I need to find some time and go through your properties again and see where we're seeing a mismatch in what they have in GVR and what they have on the site. It looks like they did something the last time we reported this. But yeah, it needs some time that I have not had this week. Apologies.
Anthony followed up with a question in the chat there. Sorry, related to that. If anyone else is seeing that issue, it's just him.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think there's a few. Overall, I think we're pretty happy with the performance on GVR, but yeah, there are sporadic issues. We're actually doing a lot still on updating things. We're now syncing cancellation policies. We have a project to do more with amenities. We've optimized ways we're syncing things. We are trying a lot to continue to kind of boost performance, and with the issues that we are seeing for some hosts, yeah, there are still some things going on, and there are people looking at it, but I can't comment on specific cases too much, except for Anthony's, who I'm familiar with. And yeah, I think we already addressed the one about exporting guest emails. Phones, no, but yeah, I think the MailChimp integration that you can access in the Hospitable App Store is the only way you can do email exports right now from Hospitable. So you can check out the Help Center and just search for MailChimp to get some more information about that.
Cool.
Okay, I think we can sign off then. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for the good questions. Thanks for your support. Is Hospitable hiring? This is the absolute last question. Yes, there is an open actually for my job. So if you want to manage direct, I'm going to go on to other projects within Hospitable, but you can take over the direct product management if you are an amazing product manager with lots of good experience in payments and fintech and things like that. But
and if you want to host one of these sessions, basically.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay. Thank you very much,
Thanks,
Andrew.
everyone.
Fantastic updates as always. Thank you, everyone.